it's Lex. It's been a while since I recorded last, but I saw that Thoughts on Tomes and My Name is Maria Inez made a new tag, and I miss tags very much. I have been on YouTube like on and off the last couple months. It's been a little stressful, so I haven't really been on in a minute. So I don't know if tags have been gone for a long time. It feels like they have been. So I'm glad that this tag was made. So this is the Get to Know My Taste booktube tag. Maria and Sam made this tag because it's hard to find new booktubers. Either people have left YouTube or they've moved to other platforms. And it just looks fun. It's a good way to find new booktubers or new to you booktubers' tastes and just see if maybe you'd be interested in their content. I thought I would participate to see if anyone would be interested in my taste and if you want to follow me and watch my stuff. Yeah, so I'll get started. The first question is, how do you rate books? Give a quick rundown of how you do your star ratings, or if you don't use star ratings, how you evaluate books. So I have kind of a vague star rating system. Part of me wants to make it like more structured, but at the same time, I mostly make reviews based on vibes. So kind of just like as a template, this is what I have. 1 star is I hated it. If I give something a 1 star, I did not like it at all. I didn't think it had any redeeming qualities, or it's not just that I didn't jive with it, but it might jive with someone else. It's like, I do not like it. I don't recommend it. No. And another thing about 1 star reviews, it might have been a book that, like, I don't know, I might have found harmful in some way. And then for 2 stars, that's kind of I read it. I didn't particularly like it. If I give something a 2 star, it might even just be like, I didn't jive with it, but maybe someone else would. But yeah, I read it. It's there. And somewhere even like in between 3 stars and 4 stars, I might even say that it was a book that, like, I don't know, I might have just found entertaining, but like I didn't like get anything emotionally from it. So yeah, 3 stars is, it's okay. So 4 stars, like, I mostly liked it. It might even be like an almost perfect book, but like for whatever reason, it didn't like push me over the edge to like 5 stars. And then 5 stars is like, I loved it and or I had a positive emotional reaction. And positive can be kind of subjective, because it could either be like, I loved it so much and it gave me happy feelings, or like it horrified me in a good way, or something like that, depending on the genre. And then the second question is, how do you approach reviewing books? What is your review style? Are you analytical, emotional, casual, or structured? I haven't been doing a lot of video reviews, at least on YouTube. I have a couple on TikTok, but I think I'm a little intimidated by like making actual reviews, which is kind of silly because that's the whole reason I wanted to start making videos in the first place, is to make reviews. But I do, like I said, I do some reviews on TikTok, and I have in the past done some on Instagram. So I have like kind of a structure for how I do those reviews. So I usually structure it with, and usually this is like written out on Instagram. So obviously like title, author, genre, how many stars, and any trigger warnings if there were any that I thought should be noted. I start out summarizing what the book is about, and then I just go into like my thoughts on the book. And so I usually do like very basic, like what I liked, what I didn't like, and then just kind of branch out from there. I want to do something very similar to that in my reviews, but I would want to be more analytical, I think. I have a degree in like art history, and like that's not that special, but like I wanted to study that subject because I just really enjoyed like digging into art pieces and, you know, like what the time period was like, the author was like, maybe what they were going through in their lives, and like what like culminated in making this art piece. And I would want to do something very similar with books because I just find that to be fun. I think I've just been getting like stuck on, I guess, like insecurity. The third question is, what's the book that made you a reader? Whether it was your first favorite or the one that got you hooked, what book started it all? What the very, very first book is, like, I don't even remember the title of it. I think a series that like really got me hooked were the Junie B. Jones books. You know, they're very short, very small. Yeah, I don't know. Junie B. Jones is just like a vibe. I felt like when I was a little girl, I felt like I wanted to be Junie B. Jones, but then like she was also like very relatable. I also wanted to mention The Seer and the Sword by Victoria Hanley, because like while I've always read, I think there's been like ebbs and flows in my reading where that was a book that stuck out to me that like really got me back into reading. This series, I don't even know what the series is called, because there's a couple other books that go like in this universe. There's another book called The Healer's Keep, and then another book called The Oracle's Daughter, all by Victoria Hanley. And I just think the way she wrote fantasy like really stuck with me, and I don't know, just like kept me hooked. I would really love to revisit those books because they had such a big impact on me, because like I liked fantasy series and books that were coming out at the time, but like I had a hard time with like high fantasy. And so I think these were the first like high fantasy books that like really got me into the genre, which kind of leads into the next question. Do you have a genre niche? Are there certain genres that you gravitate towards, or do you read widely across genres? Primarily, fantasy and horror have my heart. Those are my two favorites right now. I think those genres are the ones where I get the most enjoyment. With fantasy, I think specifically high fantasy has always been my thing. And then horror is, I think that's where like my analytical brain like really likes to go, because, you know, horror is supposed to take a look at the things that like we as a society now in this moment fear, and I think it is very telling what we're afraid of. And when I say horror, I think like, you know, like your more traditional horror. I love haunted houses and ghost stories. I think metaphorically you can really play around with those two things. And then also lit fic is literary fiction is kind of sneaking up on me, sneaking into my favorites. I know it's like it can be like very pretentious, but I just really love what some authors can do with metaphor and like symbolism. I think that's something really interesting to look at in art. So that's becoming a favorite genre as well. The next question is, do you generally prefer character-driven or plot-driven stories? Character-driven all the way. The next question is, what's a book that you love so much that you don't care if others don't like it? What's that one book you love enough for everyone? So for this, I would probably say The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. That is probably like top, like my favorite book. I think like metaphorically it really works. Before Haunting of Hill House, I like didn't really touch horror at all. I feel like metaphorically, I think Haunting of Hill House just like really, I don't know, like struck something in me. And like not only did it like get me interested in horror, but like the haunted house genre as well. I think haunted house, I guess the, I don't know if you would call it like a trope, but haunted houses like are my like very, very, very favorite tropes, I guess. It is my favorite genre, and I think it's a hard book to love. It sounds very strange to say that this is my favorite book in a way, because it's like what I love about it is that it explores like feelings of loneliness and abandonment. Which is like super depressing, but I don't know, I think it just does it like very well. It's very like visceral. The next question is, what's a book that you love so much that if someone doesn't like it, you know your reading tastes don't align? The book or books where a difference of opinion is a strong indicator of different reading preferences. I have a couple of books for this question, and it's not that like these books are free from criticism, because they're not, but if like you wholesale do not like these books, I just think your opinion is wrong. So there's The Hobbit / Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Something I love about the books and the movies are like the themes about like power and responsibility and friendship. And if you just can't, I don't know, if you can't like, I don't know, see like what Tolkien is doing with the characters and the plot, then I don't know. I just don't think we like the same things. There's a lot to criticize in this series, and all of it is valid. It's these two books are written in like the 1950s, and Tolkien was a man in the 50s. So, yeah, no. Criticisms are fine, but if you just don't like it, I don't know. I don't think we like the same things. Another book that I feel very strongly about is Witchlings by Claribel A. Ortega. This was just, there are some middle grade and young adult books where I will read and I think like, oh, well, my younger self would have liked that, but maybe my adult self like doesn't as much, and like where I have to take stock and it's just like, I'm not the audience, but would this be good for the audience? Where no, Witchlings I love. It gives me like very similar feelings as the series that won't be named. Like it really takes me back. It like speaks to my younger child self. If I had read this when I was younger, I think I would love it. I will be pushing it on to my future children. I just think it's so good. And I haven't read the other books yet, but I'm sure they're amazing as well. Yeah, I just think it's a very cute, I love the story. I love the friendship between characters. And even like just the world is like so whimsical and so cute. Yeah, no, I think it's the cutest thing ever. And then the last book is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is another book where with YA, same thing with middle grade, I will kind of take stock of a book at the end, and it's just like, my adult self might not have liked this, but my teen self definitely would. And it's like, it's the same thing with Witchlings. My adult self, my teen self, my child self all love this book. I have not read this book yet, but I did just buy the whole series from Kobo, and I will be going on vacation soon, and I will be reading all three of them. I'm very excited. I think it does adaptation really well. I think it modernizes what's it called? Legend of Arthur, Arthurian Legend, Sword in the Stone. There's not a lot of modernizations that I think I really like, but Legendborn is definitely one that does like a very good job. It was a book that I read like at the exact right moment. The characters, the magic, the adventure, just all very good. And then I didn't write this down, but I just remembered Legendborn always makes me remember this other book, Blood Like Magic by Lizelle Sambury. Another book that I love. Another situation where it's why like it was written for an audience I'm not a part of, but whether I belong to that audience like as a teen or as an adult, I still love this book. I love the family relationships, the romance, the plot, the magic, there's a lot of like ancestral magic and the culture. And it's also a little bit sci-fi in a way that had I read a summary of it, I might have felt like, I don't know if that's for me, but reading it, it was like perfect. And yeah, if you don't like Blood Like Magic, we don't agree. We don't align. Those 4 books, I'll say criticism, but if you don't like it, I don't know. The next question is what's in your trash pocket? What books, tropes, or themes that you know are bad for you, but you love them anyway? I've never heard the term trash pocket before this tag, but it's very silly and I like it. A book series that I would say is in my trash pocket is the Sweep series by Kate Tiernan. So this series actually came out in like 2000. I started reading it like a year ago. Back when I had Audible, I was listening to the audiobooks. I don't even really think it's a trash pocket. It might not even really be a trash pocket or even like a guilty pleasure. I think I don't know. It's cute. I really like it. They're really short books. I haven't finished the series, but I think I've gotten up to like the 4th book. And it's very enjoyable and I like it. As far as tropes go, I just love a roguish love interest, and I don't think I've seen a lot of like literary examples, but I guess when I think of this archetype, I think of like Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3, and I don't know, I just think it's fun. It's just fun. And then I also put depressing stuff. And it's not good for me, but like, I don't know. Sometimes you ever just like when you're sad and you put sad music on to make yourself sadder? Yeah, I do that with reading. Which might be why I'm in a reading slump right now, because I just depressed myself. But yeah, it's fine. Next question is, do you have any deal breakers in books? Something that, if present, immediately turns you off from a book. And this one is pretty obvious. Like, I don't think I'm really alone in this. But like, if there is SA in a book, just in general, I think that like really sets me off. I think it makes me very uncomfortable. And another thing is like, there better be a very good reason why it's in your book. There are some situations where I feel like sometimes it's put in stories just to be put in there, and if that's the case, if there's really no reason, like once that gets introduced to the book, like typically I like to stay in the story, I want to be immersed, but like that takes me out of the book where I'm kind of looking at the author like, why did you put that there, if that makes sense. There are times when I think SA can be used in a book that like I may find acceptable if it's making commentary on that, or like if something in the story is based off of something in real life, or if they're I don't know. But for the most part, like if there is no good reason to put it in the story, like if the story would have not changed at all if that was in there, yeah, that really takes me out. There has to be a reason. There has to be a good reason to have that in the story. Otherwise, I hate it. Anyway, the next question is, what's a strong opinion that you have about a book released within the last year? Whether it's overrated, underrated, or just a take you need to share. So unfortunately, I don't read a ton of new releases, but these are books that came out like in the last year, like as of like March of 2024. So the first book I had feelings about was The September House by Carissa Orlando. It is a haunted house book, and I thought it was doing so well. I was hooked up until like maybe the last fourth of it. I'll put the cover up because like it kind of is getting into like spoiler territory, and yeah, so if you don't want to listen to that, wait until the book cover is gone. Something that I'm very picky about with haunted house and ghost stories is that I don't think that the ghosts should be able to physically harm a person. I think like ghosts and hauntings should be more about like persuasion, like they harm you by fear or persuasion or whatever. But I feel like it only works if they are not able to like physically harm you, if that makes sense. And some go stew in this story, and I didn't like that. But overall, I think, if there's anything else that Carissa Orlando puts out, I would be very interested in reading, because the first 3/4 of this book, like, I was hooked. I was 100% sure that this was going to be another favorite. Yeah, just shaky ending. Yeah. And so the next question is, what do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it prose style, themes, voice, structure, or something else? So a big one for me in fiction is character and voice. There is some convincing the author has to do to make me believe that this is a real character, if that makes sense. I don't want you to just tell me that a character is this way. I want you to show me that they are this way. In fact, I would prefer that you didn't tell me anything about the character. Let me come to the conclusions about that character. And so in order to do that, I think that character has to have like a very strong voice. And then, like I've mentioned a couple times, I really like symbolism and metaphor. And then next question is, how do you decide what to read next? Do you plan ahead, mood read, or follow external factors, hype, recommendations, arcs, etc.? The complicated thing is that I am a mood reader, and I also like to make lists. I think I use all of like my discipline at work, and so if I'm just in my free time, I don't want to be bound to like a plan of any sort. But I do love a good list. I love my lists. Mostly mood reading, mostly random. The next question is, where do you get inspiration for your booktube content? What sparks your video ideas? Other creators, trends, personal reading experiences? So I think originally what sparked video ideas are just, it is fun to watch people talk about their bookish thoughts. And I don't know, while watching, I just wanted to do that too. I will say there is a little bit of motivation for like my personal growth with making content. I have a really hard time talking at all. There are like a select few that I can like really share my opinion with, and I think a reason that I'm not very good at it is because I don't do it very often. And so part of making content is to like get the words out there kind of as practice, so that in other venues of my life, like, I'm able to share more, because like it's very hard for me, and I'm not really sure why. So I'm just trying to practice until it comes, I guess. So I had originally read this question as like, what gives you, I guess, like motivation to make videos. So I'm kind of going that route, I guess. But I also want to make connections. I want to make friends, and that's why I started this channel. Is I'd love to make friends. And then lastly, like, I love to analyze, but like I never get that down on paper or in video, and I would love to just like sit down and do that, because like, I don't know, I think I have a lot of cool thoughts in my head, and I would just like to get them out. Next question is, if you could make any book go viral right now, what would it be? A book that you think deserves more attention, and why? Where is it? So, a book that I think needs more recognition is The Good House by Tananarive Due. Ever since The Reformatory came out, I have seen more people talk about The Good House. This is a phenomenal book. It is one of my favorites. It does haunted houses in such a good way. The character is good. There's a little bit of romance. It gets a little steamy, and it was very surprising, but very good. This is so good. It came out in the year 2000, 25 years ago, and it stands up, all of it. Like, I have never felt so anxious in a book than I did in this book. The way that Tananarive Due does suspense is perfect. Several moments in this book where, like, what's going to happen, and you're still hoping that it won't, and like, when it does, you're like, like, I don't know, it's just very good. I mean, like, I have it sitting right next to me at my desk no reason, just because I love it. And there are even like cliches that are used in this book that I think are just done in such a good way. And like, I'm not anti-cliche, cliches are great, but just like cliche things in horror that I don't usually like are done in this, and I think it is perfect. It's very good. I think I was so surprised as well because like when I read this, I think like 2 years ago, there were topics that like I was thinking about and was feeling and thought and feelings that I was feeling at the time that just like kind of came out of this book. Like it's like this book read my mind and then like spit it onto page in the most horrifying way possible, and it's very good. Yeah, I think it does ghosts really well. I think it does haunted house very well. Just, it might be a perfect book. It might just be a perfect book. But yeah, I think everyone should read it. I'm so glad that Tananarive Due is getting more attention lately because she deserves it. I haven't read The Reformatory yet, but I've heard such good things. And I haven't finished it, but I started her Immortal series, and I've read half of like the first book, and it is so good. It's just like, it's like good entertainment wise, but like also metaphorically and symbolically. I promise it's good. Unless you're a scaredy cat, which I understand as a former scaredy cat. But yeah, that was my mini rant. I love that book so much. I think you should read it. Anyway, before this becomes a Good House review, next question is, who are some booktubers with reading tastes that are similar to yours? So obviously, because I'm doing this tag, I am a big fan of My Name is Maria Inez and Thoughts on Tomes. I think I usually agree more with My Name is Maria Inez. I think most things that I've read, that she's read, I usually agree with her opinions on things. And then Thoughts on Tomes, I think 3/4 of the time I agree with Sam. I have been following both for a long time, and I think they really have like shaped my goals of like what I want to do with booktube stuff. And then there's also Reads with Rachel, and while she's read a lot of books that I haven't read, because she often reads books that are not the best quality, I do agree with what she says, and if I were reading what she was reading, like I feel like I would have very similar feelings and thoughts. And then also like I really like her activism in regard to fighting censorship in schools, especially against organizations like what's it called, like Moms for Liberty or something. So yeah, I really like her content and agree with her on those things. And then also there is formerly Reads with Cindy, now just with Cindy, that I really love their content so much. I've been following Cindy for a very, very long time. And then someone who's pretty new to me, that I followed over from TikTok, is Grapey Delgado. I really enjoy their reviews on adaptations, and I feel very similar to the adaptations that I have watched that she has mentioned in her content. And yeah, she's also very similar to Reads with Rachel. She's read a lot of things that I haven't because of the quality of the work. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes, and I haven't read them, but I feel like I would agree with their reviews. And so, yeah, I would really recommend all of these people. I have them linked in the bottom. And yeah. And since this is a tag, of course, anyone can do this tag, and I would encourage anyone who is interested in doing this tag to do it. But specifically, I would recommend my friends Ivy and Carly to do this challenge. We have a group booktube account. It's called the Teacup Brigade. We had taken a little bit of a break the last couple of years, and we're coming back a bit more. There's also talk of creating a Discord. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for more information about that. You can do that by following me or Ivy or Carly or the Teacup Brigade's channel. And yeah, we'll make an announcement once we get things up and running. But yeah, this was a very fun tag to do. I'm really glad that it was made. I miss tags. I miss tags so much because it's a really easy way to like continue talking about books when maybe you haven't read a lot of books recently. I've been having the hardest time reading books this year. I have not finished a single book yet this year. It's almost the end of March right now. Yeah, I'm glad to at least talk about books, even though I'm not really reading them right now. Anyway, it was great to see you, and I'll see you later. Bye!